Liza Belozerova and Anna Andersson back on the stage.
Thank you, Elena. Shall I sit here? Gosh, these are very comfortable armchairs. We can sit here all day.
Yeah, I see the hall is even fuller now. So I guess everyone's here to hear Liza. First of all, just starting off, I want to thank Liza for agreeing to come to Riga and to talk with us here on the Women in Tech stage, because Liza is a senior manager for Europe, Africa, and East Asia at google.org.
Middle East.
And Middle East at google.org. And Liza is also a TEDx speaker. So we have an amazing speaker here on the stage. Let's just give one more round of applause to Liza. Thank you. But Liza is also from Latvia. So I wanted to start off by asking you for you to just share your story, how to get from Latvia to google.org, because I know there are people in the audience who are dreaming of that kind of shift.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for such a warm welcome. As you said, I am from Riga, and it's always a great pleasure to be back, and of course, share my journey and the story of google.org with so many people here present and online as well. My story didn't start in tech at all. I never imagined myself working at Google. It was never my ambition or my goal. I went to Riga's French Lyceis. I loved languages. I loved literature, and I studied languages, humanities, and then I went to France to study literature. I was this person sitting and reading a book a week, and that was, I was imagining myself working in that space, in the media and literature space, and then I pursued a career in broadcast journalism. This is how I went to London to study international broadcast journalism and pursued the career in media. And there was an interesting shift happened as I was having a job placement in a TV station, and I could see the newsreels coming and sort of one big story after another, and I set out, in my career in journalism to tell the stories of people, have impact with these stories, and I realized that the newsreels go so often, so quickly, and disappear just as quickly, so it's very difficult to actually have tangible impact with those stories just because of the sheer volume and speed of information. And this is how, at the time, the LinkedIn platform, I'm that old, and at the time LinkedIn platform appeared, and my mom called me and told me, "Are you on LinkedIn?" And I was like, "No, why would I go on LinkedIn?" And then, just to please my mom, I went on LinkedIn, registered my profile, and then surprisingly, a couple of weeks later, I got a message from a recruiter who told me, like, "Oh, we're looking for someone who speaks different languages and has media background to go and run a project in the Great Lakes region of Africa." And I was in my mid-20s. I had sort of no attachments. I went through the job interviews, packed my bags, and off I went and ran a civil engagement program in East Africa, in Kenya, Rwanda, Eastern Congo for over 4 years. And at the time, I suddenly got a call from after many years from another recruiter. I was sitting at a border from Rwanda to Eastern Congo, which is a very kind of complex space to transit. There was no Wi-Fi. There were these guards standing with Kalashnikovs, and I'm kind of running around trying to get Wi-Fi. And I get a call, and they say, "Well, Google UK is recruiting someone who has social impact. We came across your profile." And I was convinced it was spam. I did not believe that Google would be interested in me and in my journey, because everything before that I was doing had no direct relation to the tech space. Fast forward, lots of different interviews and conversations. I ended up at Google UK in the UK marketing team, running social impact projects and online safety, which started becoming a growing field, and there was need to educate young people in online safety as those tools were getting more and more accessible for teenagers. And 2 years later, I transitioned into google.org, which is Google's philanthropy, and I've been on the team for 5 years, leading the economic opportunity portfolio, supporting nonprofits who educate people who come from underrepresented communities, underserved groups with digital skills, and supporting access to tech jobs. So, in a nutshell, that's my story.
Wonderful. Thank you, Liza, for sharing. So, you coming from this language background and then social work background, and now working with google.org. How would you say, like, from your perspective, why should women aspire and go into the tech field?
I think there are a ton of reasons why women should get excited about technology, and some of them were illustrated by the amazing two speakers who came before me, Liza and Jana. I would just point out two areas which, for me, summarize why we should get as women excited about technology. And first is the macro social context. I think it's an understatement to say that as society we are right now in the middle of huge global challenges: climate crisis, war in Ukraine, rising inequalities, cost of living crisis. All of that happening while we're still finding our feet after 2 years or more of the global pandemic. And as the private sector, public sector, are kind of looking at the future and what the roadmap looks like, European Commission published a report, Path to Digital Decade. And it emphasizes that the key to inclusive and sustainable future is in digital skills, is in digitizing small and medium businesses. So there is this exciting opportunity for women to be part of that future, to seize the opportunity, and this comes with getting comfortable with digital skills and embracing that the future is digital and we need to be part of it, and we have the opportunity to shape it. And of course, there are great examples of women in Latvia who are already doing this. Of course, one wonderful example is in front of me with Riga Tech Girls, but also with entrepreneurs who went through some of the Google training, like Grow with Google. We have the founder, I believe, of clothes brand Tiny Bunny, Fox the Maker, which are great boxes for kids. And the training they went through digital allowed them to export their business internationally, which is an amazing story for the women and for Latvia, and to start a fully online business, which gives women a lot of flexibility. So there are women who are doing this already. So that's the societal context and looking ahead in the future. And the second point I want to make, which these two stories are a great segue for that, is that technology, we often think about technology as an industry, as a career path, but we forget that technology proliferates in the everyday of our lives, in our professional lives. And it's important that that technology is inclusive, and it's important that it responds to the needs of everybody. So it's so important that people from all backgrounds and women are at the helm, at the driving seat, creating that technology that responds to also the needs of women and serves women and their purposes. And I just want to give a quick example to illustrate that. At google.org in 2021, we ran an open call. It was a 25 million global open call, google.org Impact Challenge for women and girls. And the purpose of that open call was to find nonprofit organizations who are helping women and girls with economic opportunity, finding pathways to the future, and empowering women. So we selected 34 projects from 19 countries, and one of them was Social Bee. It's a project based in Germany, founded by amazing Zara Brun. And she created a job platform for female refugees in Germany and Europe. And she thought very carefully about the user journey of women refugees and tailored her platform to the needs of these women. And that's what I'm trying to say here. She made sure there were volunteers who were helping women navigate her platform as their first introduction to make them comfortable. And after, obviously, they found a job or had experience with the job platform, there were people also supporting them with cultural integration, because as women, especially mothers, there's so many things to think about when you come to another country, cultural adaptation, kids at school. I mean, there's a whole whirlwind of things to think about, and that sort of wraparound support is so important. She was able to provide it. So when we think about platforms and tools and programs that are created for women, it's thinking, what are the needs of women and how can we make technology work and adapt for women? So there's so much work to do there.
Thank you. I believe that there are quite many women in this audience who are aspiring to be part of the tech world, or who are looking forward to changing their careers and becoming professionals in IT or technology, or maybe in STEM on a larger scale as well. What would be your advice for these women?
I think we often talk about careers in tech, and someone who doesn't come from the tech background at all, I always found the term careers in tech super overwhelming. I don't know if you if that's something that resonates with you, but it's just so difficult to understand what this sort of complex term of careers in tech means. And the language here is important to make it accessible for as many women as possible from different backgrounds. So I think I like the terminology of digital agility or digital skills, and using digital in so many different spaces. So asking how can women be comfortable with digital in pursuit of many different careers, because digital now is everywhere. So I think shifting that mentality is important to make it a little bit more accessible and easier to kind of ease off the pressure of this conversation. And the second, of course, is finding the right programs. And of course, in Latvia, there is one-stop shop with Riga Tech Girls. So I do invite as many of you to kind of share all the information about Riga Tech Girls programs that have been so amazing and had impact on so many women that we can see, which is truly phenomenal. And the work you're doing now outside of Latvia is just a testament to how great your projects are. So of course, find if there's no Riga Tech Girls where you live, or you live abroad, there are other amazing programs like Women Go Tech in Lithuania, Chiquitas in Czech Republic, just to quote a couple of that are supported by Google.org with the similar mission. Or there is Codex in South Africa as well, empowering women, finding the right courses. And as Google, we launched the Google Career Certificates, which go a slightly level deeper, and they're online flexible courses in things like IT support, data analyst, and cybersecurity. Maybe I'll talk about it a little later. And they're fully flexible. And actually in Latvia, we've Google partnered with the State Employment Agency, and there 500 scholarships there were given in this year alone, and this is working really well. So that's another opportunity if you're in pursuit of more in-depth careers and actually projecting yourself in technology. This is a great way to start as well.
So you touch upon some of the career certificates, but if we look at what kind of skills would you say should these women strive for developing themselves? So what should be the focus there?
I really loved the two stories of women that Liza from Solar Ride shared earlier, and that resonates with what I will say is, firstly, it's this attitude to learning. I think we have to understand that what we don't know is exciting. It's not a setback. We have to get really excited about this as an opportunity to learn and grow. And I think culturally, of course we're all different, but especially in Central and Eastern Europe, we have this culture of sort of perfectionism. We have to know everything. We have to forget that. No one knows anything. That, especially with the pace of digital world, let's take AI. A year ago, it was a pretty niche thing, and it's everywhere now. It's the buzzword of today, and but no one really understands the technology. So it's just a very recent example that most of us, even who work in tech, have to upskill very quickly and ask the right questions. So this learning and growth mindset is super important. And failure. I think a lot of us come out of the education system that creates this very wrong perception of what failure is. And we have to switch that mentality to firstly realize that failure doesn't exist. It's just an opportunity to learn and grow. And once you enter tech space, you will learn that very quickly. So I think that's very important to shift that mentality to kind of also release this stress and the anxiety of not knowing. And secondly, and the last 2 points is soft skills. As both Liza and Jana were mentioning, it's super important to be able to work with people from different backgrounds, engineers, product owners, marketeers, public affairs teams. Everyone has very different language, different specialities, different way of working. And you have to have the ability to work together, to interact, to listen, to have this sort of emotional agility to understand the project and look at it from the perspectives of all these different teams who come together around these projects. So although we're talking about the tech world, the real world soft skills are super important, and self-confidence. Many women, and myself included, struggle often with imposter syndrome, and there are great courses also developed by Google, such as I Am Remarkable, available in many languages that help women overcome this and sort of get support as well from the community, because it's a huge roadblocker. But what I want to say is that it's not all on women. No matter how much women upskill and make themselves better and change the mindset, etc., it's also on the system. I think it's important that the learning providers make the courses available for women who are mothers, that these courses are flexible, that the right wraparound supports are offered to women so they can learn flexibly. And of course, it's also on the employers to recruit women, to offer opportunities, and also to offer the right flexibilities to women that are required, especially for mothers of young children, etc. So it's on the system and on the policymakers as well to make it part of roadmaps for their country. So I think it takes a village to make that work. I really want to underscore that it's important to upskill, but we have to work collectively as an ecosystem to make it better for women. It's not just on women to better themselves all the time. And we fund different projects. We funded a working tech program which is run by a nonprofit called INCO, who support the distribution of these career certificates. And they were amongst the almost 30,000 learners. There were over 70% were women, and there are so many learnings that we have acquired around what makes these programs work for women, and networking, peer-to-peer support come sort of top of that list, and we are sharing these learnings far and wide with the funder and nonprofit ecosystem. So more programs are tailored for women.
Thank you. How would you say? What are the most exciting things happening in the tech world at the moment? What should we be, all looking out for?
I was thinking a lot about this question, and I would say strategically, I think cybersecurity is a super interesting space. One data point is that by 2025, there will be 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity vacancies. That's a huge opportunity. And currently, there are only 20% of the labor force within cybersecurity are women. So
there's a lot of opportunity there, right?
Exactly. And we made the cybersecurity course available as part of the online courses on career certificates, but there are a ton of other opportunities to learn cybersecurity there. And I think you are also, as Riga Tech Girls, exploring that space as well.
Yeah, we've had actually cybersecurity as part of our mentorship program for several years now. And one of the Riga Tech Girls co-creators, Elena, she's a founder of Women for Cyber Latvia chapter. So definitely we're going into that direction. And there's a lot of excitement. And actually Latvia is pretty advanced in cybersecurity. So there are a lot of opportunities. We see that there's going to be a need. So for those of you figuring out like where to go, so cybersecurity is very exciting and coming up. All right.
Yeah, and I would say obviously the second area of excitement is artificial intelligence, AI. It's we are talking as a sector about it more this year, but if you think about it, intelligent machines have been around us for a very long time. You know, we all use maps, we all use search, etc. And this technology has been inbuilt there. And we funded a report with Public First, which showed that artificial intelligence will help the goals that European Commission outlined in the Path for Digital Future report to make those promises happen in the future, and of course will increase the European competitiveness as well. So there is also a huge opportunity there for women to get behind and get in that space. And what's important is that the recent progress has made a lot of these tools more available. Before it acquired more in-depth knowledge of sort of engineering skills and coding, etc. And right now there are more off-the-shelf solution available. Of course, we're very excited that Bard is also available in Latvian. Yay! So it was all there's all these great opportunities there. So I think that's definitely a space, although it might be confusing at times, but we all have to kind of learn and upskill, especially as women in this space.
Yeah, I guess that goes for everyone. So learning about how we can use the AI tools, and they're going nowhere. They're going to stay, and we just need to make best use of them. I think that maybe also the audience here and I would like to hear a little bit about your personal experience. So maybe you can share something from your personal experience, a challenge that you overcome or a great success story. It's always like getting personal is always very, very interesting, and yeah, looking forward to hearing some story from you.
I think for me, the biggest challenge was transitioning into the tech sector. I think coming from working in social impact for a nonprofit organization, doing field work in Africa, and then going into the tech world was probably the biggest professional challenge I had to overcome in my career, because it's a change of everything. So it's not just about what you do, it's the office culture, it's understanding the language, the sort of the implicit language codes used by the team. And actually, I think about these language codes a lot because they are the ones that make you feel excluded from a conversation. And when you're in those meeting rooms and you come in, it's like, am I using the right words? Am I like, how do you integrate? How do you find that sense of belonging? So I have to say, it was quite a journey for me. So I didn't enter the offices and feeling like, oh, I belong here. I had to find my feet and understand, what are the goals? How do we interact? What is the culture? And how do I translate my non-tech experience into this tech space? How do my experience doing field work and running social impact projects could be valuable to the tech space? And it was a journey for me and a journey for my teams, and I was very lucky to have incredible managers at Google, and still have, and it's a two-way street, but it has definitely been a journey, and I understand that transition for a lot of women can be challenging in many ways, but it's important to keep the conversation open and to also find it like a playful experience, to find joy in it. I think when we get too serious, it just all gets a bit complicated. But having these conversations, and it took me a while to find the voice also to be able to share my experience pre-tech, and being on the journey actually was a great story and a great experience of personal development for me. So I think I look back at it as a huge challenge, but also with gratitude that I had that experience.
Thank you so much for sharing. I guess this, a lot of the women who have transitioned can relate to this. And me personally, I can also relate to that a lot. What would be your take? So previously we also heard the speakers talk about networking, and networking as an important part also for women to succeed in technology. What would be your take? What are some of the ways how women can build stronger networks, work on this networking aspect in the tech to develop their careers, to develop their impact?
I think networking is great, and mentoring is a phenomenal tool to really understand. You know, I mentioned previously those implicit codes, and you will never find out about this from job interview because it goes very quickly. You will never really know what these implicit codes are in this industry unless you start talking proactively with people who are in the industry, and finding the right mentors is key, and asking them a lot of questions and understanding kind of the deeper dynamics of particular company or the industry. And there, obviously Riga Tech Girls offers, mentorship programs, and there are different mentorship programs out there. I previously just myself in my own journey just reached out on LinkedIn, and I think there are different ways of asking for help. Instead of saying, hey, I want to work at this place, help me, it's like, can I learn from you? And these are very different conversations to have. But I would say mentorship is key, and for women as well who are in tech, I think it's also a responsibility on them, no matter what level you're on, what team you're on, really shouting from the rooftops about, telling the stories of how they work, how their day-to-day looks like from, morning to end, and offering themselves up for mentorship on public platforms such as LinkedIn or others is really important. I would really underline how valuable it is for industry, and all the projects that we fund at google.org really show that peer-to-peer support and mentorship are key factors that help women from just learning to actually acquiring a position in a tech field where they apply digital skills.
All right, thank you. I hope everyone's making notes and keeping this in mind. And last question, and we will afterwards go on a break here. How can we, as a society, not just women, I guess this question actually is about everyone, how can we use technology skills and digital skills to have a social impact, to impact our world to be a better place for the future? What would be your suggestion there?
I think just women need to get into tech. To the point what I was saying earlier, there is, when we think about technology and the impact it has on our lives, when you work in the tech sector, you have ability to have social impact. You have the ability to influence how people collect information, how they interact, how their day-to-day looks like, because we live on our phones and with all the digital tools that are there. So supporting the access of women into this field and allowing them to be in the driving seat is where this change is going to happen. And the more role models, the more vocal people we have, and women who talk about their journeys, who inspire others and help lift others. I really want to emphasize as well that we don't really celebrate enough as well the women who actually achieve careers in tech or experiences the digital sector. And it's very important that as society of women and society across all genders and peoples for all walks of life, to really celebrate the fact that you made that transition, you changed the career, went into new space, and we don't celebrate that enough. When you do get that job or you do make that transition, it's always kind of a small post on LinkedIn, and it's very kind of hush-hush, maybe like a drink with your friends and family, but I think as a society, we need to celebrate that more and create that momentum around this. And then when we have that change, and the numbers that Jana was showing, and there are only 17% ICT specialists in Europe right now, only 17. This is so low, and once we increase that representation, we will have the ability to have social impact at scale.
Thank you. I think, yeah, what I'm taking away is this celebration, to celebrate more, and I'm also inviting everyone to celebrate today, this Women in Tech conference that we're having, and network with each other, find new contacts, talk to each other, and network, and yeah, celebrate your development. Thank you. This was Liza from google.org. Thank you so much, Liza.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.